Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move on now to the Tobago Medal of Honor Silver for long and meritorious service to Tobago. Our first awardee in this category in the sphere of public service, Dr. Ellis Burris.
From day one that I come into the Tobago House of Assembly, I start serving the public in a very, very organized way and try to ensure that the population of Tobago and those who may come to visit are satisfied with our service as best we can. To get started is just a motivation of the mind. The fact remains that as a person from Tobago who is interested in Tobago's development and the progress of its people, I would dedicate my entire being for its advancement and its development as best as possible. I am trying to help the people of Tobago, who try to help Tobago as much as possible reach the highest level that it could reach. That is never ending, and we always have to work to achieve what is good for the development of the country and the island as a whole.
Dr. Ellis Burris.
To get started is just a motivation of the mind. The words of Dr. Ellis Burris there, receiving the honor of medal silver awardee at the recently concluded Tobago Day Awards ceremony. And guess what? I have the honor of speaking with him in studio this morning. Good morning, Dr. Burris, and welcome.
Good morning, and good morning, Tobago, good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and the world.
Right, definitely the world is looking at us, and for me it's a proud moment. The entire Tobago Day celebrations, and I look at the award ceremony because I look at the categories that people are awarded in, and when you look at their lives, and when we're talking about somebody like Dr. Ellis Burris, who has been in the public service as a little girl growing up. I know that name. I knew that name, and I heard my mother calling the name. I joined the public service as a contract worker for a few years, just a short stint. So I kind of know how the thing goes. And I want to say congratulations to you.
Thank you much.
Well
Thank you very
earned,
much.
well deserved. Thank you for your contribution to the public service of Trinidad and Tobago. So, tell me how you're feeling.
Well, it's exciting and it's a good gesture by the Tobago House of Assembly. At least I was there when the award ceremony as chief administrator, when the award ceremony was initiated by the chief secretary, Mr. London at the time. And, you know, I've been part of it, part of the program, the beginning of the program, because I was working as the chief administrator then.
And, you know, it's so good to see that you are able to receive that said award, you know, being a part of the initial drive of it. You know, your years in the public service, what are some of the things that were critical to your success?
Well, I need to start at the genesis of things. I'm being a member of the Baha'i faith and a part of the public service. I have to. Nobody knows about the Baha'i faith. People want to understand what it is. I have to be an example for both my religion and for the public service as a whole. So I have two strata of which I am working on to make sure that the public feels the effect of a public servant who is concerned with the development of the country, and also one who is trying to show his qualities and attributes that God has given him. So I've been walking, I walk this path, and I try my best to ensure that I do whatever is necessary to ensure that there is transparency and integrity in what I'm doing, and that the public or persons in the public can emulate the movements that I'm making to ensure that Tobago progresses from a state of neocolonialism, out of neocolonialism into one that is a more independent and autonomous body, to ensure that the world is looking at us and we can give to the world qualities and attributes that they require for the entire world development.
And how important to you is it to leave an impact on the persons in your immediate space, in terms of your subordinates, persons you work with, and, you know, the entire Tobago community on a whole?
Well, at least it's a good feeling, because you are sharing and you are also learning at the same time. And with that, you know, persons who are interfacing with you are feeling the motivation that you have and the drive that you have to ensure that things happen. You know, when I came into the public service, I was working in Tobago House of Assembly because when I went away to study, I was working with the Water and Sewage Authority then as a waterworks operator, or they call him now process plant operator. But then I went away and came back. I thought I would have gone back to WASA. Then WASA said, okay, they had no space for me. I came back as an engineer. So I said the best thing to do is to try to work with the Tobago House of Assembly. And I started with the Tobago House of Assembly as a civil engineer 1. Mr. Robinson was there at the time as the person who, they was calling the person who in charge of the assembly at the time, the chairman of the assembly. So you have to do a lot, because we now build in Tobago. We are actually trying to ensure that the new administration leaves an image both to its onlookers and to the island itself. So you have to work. You have to work, and you have to work consistently and work with a certain amount of effectiveness to ensure that the message is well sent and the message is well received by those who are looking in. So building Tobago, with my hands, I'm there working with from day one. I've been working with the politicians, and up to now, I'm still working with the politicians, trying to make sure that Tobago become the greatest little island on the planet.
You know, being a foundation member, and even up till now, through the years, I know it didn't come without challenges.
Of course it did.
Right? How do you navigate through the challenges and to ensure that your objectives are met?
Well, you have to be very skillful. You know, you look at things and you analyze it. You don't rush it. You take your time and analyze the steps you have to make. Because I remember when I went to do an interview to get a master's, to do my master's, I got a scholarship from the Organization of American States. And then, you know, I looked around and I said, okay, there is a space for a structural engineer, because at the time, Mr. Ivor Wong was the only does structural engineering on the island. I said, I think I'd go in that direction. So you have to it's a strategic path you have to take. Because even like, I remember when I was going to high school, because I went to Roxborough Secondary School, and you graduated with several O-levels and things, and most of the young men then, they were going to agriculture. They were ahead of me, some of them. So I said, okay, everybody want to be an agriculture assistant. I said, and they're going to Centennial. I said, it's too much. This is too loaded in that area. So I said, okay, I will go. I started working with the Water and Sewage Authority. I was focused as a young man. I was working with Macanani Tobago Limited, which is now Ansa Macalal. And I then moved into the Water and Sewage Authority, where I was working as a waterworks operator. And you're having time to study, because when you only take in the readings of the pump station at 1 hour apart. So I have time there to put with the books. So I sat there and I said, okay, good, I could be an engineer, man. I look around I was working in Craighall at the time, at the station down at Big River. And I walk out and I see the bridges, and I look at I said, I could build these things. I said, all I need is the various ingredients to ensure that I can do it. So I just go to math class, and advanced math class, chemistry and physics. So I actually did those things to ensure that I have the foundation going forward. And after that, I told them, I'm going to the States. I'm going to study. So I got up there and I went, sometimes I'm there, I'm saying, listen, why leave my work and come here? So sometimes you look at the snow outside, you say, wow, I got to go out in that snow to go and do work and to prepare myself. I say, all the same, what is important is to get that certificate. Get it and go back down. So actually, I went to Springfield Technical Community College in Massachusetts, in the States, and then I moved to the University of Massachusetts, where I got a bachelor's or a degree in civil engineering. Came back, checked WASA didn't have no space, and I come to the Tobago House of Assembly. And I said, I'll put my best foot forward here. And I did. Actually, when I started, I was in charge of the buildings department, which is all buildings, both constructed building and buildings to be maintained. So I'm very strong on building and the building industry, because if I can speak to the situation that actually the building that Works Department now occupy, I have a hand in it. I register my presence there. Mr. Wong designed it, the building with a civil engineer, Mr. Wong, and I was the one who constructed that building down at Shaw Park. Then we have several other buildings that I'm involved with. The first actual building I designed and have constructed is the Dallaford Community Center, which is one of the largest community centers on the island. Then the Roxborough Cultural Complex, which is Sid Gray Stadium. I'm the one who did the structural analysis on that. And everything pertaining to buildings development on the island. Even like when Mr. Charles, like you're going to put, or having been in charge of building, to some of the assembly personnel were to have offices in the divisions. You know that's a problem. You're going to deal with that situation and you're going to meet people from the opposition there. So I remember going to health, public health, to get Mrs. Moore, wife of Dr. Moore, as she was the secretary for health. So you have to make sure that you have offices for all the secretaries. At one time, they were all at one point at the cultural, at the complex, around at Fairfield complex. Then we start moving them out into the various divisions that they could operate as ministers. As the ministers are involved with the ministries, so the secretaries, the secretaries have to be associated with the division of which they are secretary also. So you have to find offices for them. And I am the one spearheading some of those situations. So you meet the brunt of people's certain circumstances that exist. So you have to face it. And then, but we achieved it. And you see that all those offices or all those secretaries go find their offices or find offices for themselves. We have initiated those things at the beginning of the assembly, because I actually started in the assembly in 1985, September 1985. But actually the assembly was inaugurated since 81. So 4 years of it going, and then you need to build on whatsoever you have started. And the secretaries, and they didn't have the respect that they have to these now. They were paid very low salaries, and people were trying to create situations that were not very healthy. And therefore, you have to be able to work with that and to ensure that the administration evolve into something that is respectable. And the respect has come, and then we have to continue to build on it to have both local respect, regional and international respect. So we're building on this thing, and we continue to build on it. It will not end. Building a state or building a government is never ending, and therefore you have to continue to work. I am the first administrator appointed in the Tobago House of Assembly. Mr. Richards was the first chief administrator, and Mr. Charles instructed him to appoint me. I just came back from studying, and he said appoint. But I had my PhD I wasn't afraid, because if I lose my work, I could get our next work. So I said, listen, I'm going with what Mr. Charles says. Appoint Dr. Burris as the administrator for infrastructure. So that was the first administrator appointed in the present Tobago House of Assembly.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Your entire journey there, all those years as serving in the public service, what was the most memorable or meaningful period or time or situation that you encountered?
Listen, I have a stamp of our presence on most of the development on the island. The Scarborough Enhancement Project, that's a baby I created. So, but at least it is evolving. We are not completed with it. The fast ferry, I have to stand up for the fast ferry to get to ensure that the fast ferry program was implemented on the island, because, we had gone to the assembly centers to Canary Islands. So we saw what was happening on the Canary Islands with the fast ferries. We knew it could work. There were negative vibes coming out from various departments and regions about the fast ferry. Eventually, I said this fast ferry is going to change the mode of travel between Trinidad and Tobago. You see what is happening right now?
Yes, yes.
I don't have to say it. You are seeing it in front of your very eyes. So that fast ferry operation, which is part of the things, most of the things on the island are in the infrastructure, particularly roads. Let us look at roads now. The Lansing-Charlesville Road. That was a road, that was at a track. You had no road there. I had to stand up. I remember Mr. Sandy sending me to Trinidad. I had to live out of my suitcase at the Crown Plaza, going to fight for the Lansing-Charlesville Road. I sat there, and I said, Mr. Sandy, I'm coming home. And he said, Boris, stay down there and get it done. I remember that morning or that day, about 26 persons from the Trinidad arena, and I alone from Tobago, fighting for the Lansing-Charlesville Road. And I rest my case. And then I said to myself, I said, well, I turned a lawyer, then I said, the defense rests. The defense rests. Right? So I put the case, I said, I have seen people, I was living in Britain. I saw in Britain, I said, don't try to hoodwink us. I have seen in Britain, they're cutting road through the forest and they're taking out people who decide to fight the environmental arrangement, taking them out from tunnels, but still cutting the road. I said, we will not settle for less. Let this Lansing-Charlesville Road be done. When I finished rest my case, I just hear people falling in and saying, yes, we agree. I remember at the election, I think Miss Jolene John was the one who went up to on that side and Mr. Panay was the Prime Minister. The morning of the election morning, well, the election was going on, they were probably campaigning. The morning after the election was over, the letter arrived stating that the Tobago House of Assembly is awarded $46 million to do the Lansing-Charlesville Road. So you see, getting Tobago the way it at now is not one that takes people who will be backing down. You must stand up and fight for Tobago if you are interested in its development. And therefore, at least I'm not overrating myself. I generally do not speak of myself that much. But I'm telling you, the metal which you're meeting with when you come to deal with Tobago, I am a metal that you have to deal with. And what is happening in Trinidad must happen in Tobago is one country. If you're building roads in Trinidad, we're building roads in Tobago. And therefore, if there's a pie that has to be shared between Trinidad and Tobago, when you have international funds, you're building roads in Trinidad with the international funds, you have to build roads in Tobago. The Spring Garden Road, the bridges at Goodwood, the Goldsboro River Bridge, all those were built on international funds. And the road development process, we have to stand up. You cannot allow a weak-hearted behavior. You go to Trinidad to negotiate, not speaking and playing afraid. You cannot do that. Even though you are not aggressive, you must speak your mind, speak the truth, and speak for the encouragement and development of the island. Have no fear.
You know, and I appreciate the fights that you have.
Well, not a fight, you know.
When I say that the drive and the passion that you have for the development of Tobago, and, you know, I want to take this opportunity to encourage the current public servants to have the same passion. Yeah. And I just want to read a few messages coming to you from our viewers online. Congratulations, Dr. Burris, well deserved. You know, and people are just, you know, happy that you have, you know, received this award and that you are able to receive your flowers while you are still here. And in closing, what type of advice would you give an upcoming?
I would want to say a little bit more. No, even your own people, when they see the enthusiasm and drive you have, they get to start to turn against you in a form. I was locked out of my office, and those who know, I would not even say go because I do not dwell on the unpleasant things of life. That's one of my prayer every day. Do not dwell on the unpleasant things of life because you're going to live it over if you dwell on it. Locked out from my office down at Shaw Park, a building that I built, designed or constructed, locked out of my office. And those who have the perpetrators know who they are, right? But I say nothing about that, and I would say no further about it. But that did not daunt my spirit to be a public servant. You will meet challenges and you have to face them head on. And those who, if you know that you are doing something with a pure motive and a pure heart, do not turn back. Continue to do your work and do not allow vitriolic behavior to stop you from making progress.
That's right. If you have a mission, a goal to accomplish, keep at it, even in spite of challenges that might arise, because you have a goal and you want to accomplish your goal.
I went to Trinidad, but I always tell them in Trinidad, I say, I am not afraid of anyone. You know? I say, I was locked out of my office in Tobago, and therefore, if I expect anything, when I was the CEO at WASA, I was attacked again. These are things that the public servant will have to understand, that you would be attacked. And therefore, if you have good motives and good intention, do not give them up. Because what is going on is someone who is maybe upset about your progress or how you are shining, and therefore they try to whittle down your station in a particular way. But I left those two areas with my kite flying high. I will not be daunted by any problem. Once I am doing a good, I will continue to do it. I also want to indicate the pioneering action that is taking place right now. We are working towards doing a road between Palatavia and Goldsboro. Goldsboro will be an active government center in time to come. And I went through the forest. I pioneered that operation. They said I was lost. I ain't lost. I was delayed there because a man was sick. We have to ensure that everyone who come on the mission be back at office in good health. And therefore, as the leader of the team, I have to ensure that happens. You cannot sit back and allow talk or idle talk to daunt your determination. I will not be daunted. Even to get a PhD, you could be daunted also by the professors, but do not be dismayed. Once you're doing something that is good, keep it going until such time you achieve it.
That's right. Do not be dismayed. Keep it going until such time you achieve it. The words from Dr. Ellis Burris. I'm telling you, a silver medal awardee at the recently concluded Tobago Day Awards for his role in the public service in the Tobago space, ensuring the development of Tobago progresses and advances. Many, many congratulations to Dr. Burris and all the awardees who received as well at the celebrations that took place there a couple nights ago. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio this morning. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Thank you.